The following program is furnished by K1 International LLC and is responsible for its content. Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Texas. How we doing out there? Welcome to your chilly Sunday morning. What a bunch of crazy weather out there. How about 90 degrees yesterday and then down into the 40s today? Cold, blustery, windy, crazy weather.
Absolutely. It was funny that yesterday evening I'm doing all my stuff around the house, and so I put my feet into the pool to get some stuff out of there. Hey, this feels kind of nice.
Not for long.
No, not for long at all.
Meanwhile, snow in Amarillo. So crazy, huh?
Oh, that was the most unbelievable part, because I was at the pool store getting my supplies, and that's when I found out about it. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's really snowing in Amarillo. I was like, well, it's a good thing I'm not there.
I know. Unbelievable. I know. I was planning to work on the pool this weekend, too. I've still got the winter cover on, and I was planning either this weekend or next weekend. Usually about, it's either late May, early May, late April that I do it.
Yeah.
And then the winds kind of came through. I was like, I'll wait on that. I will wait on taking the old winter cover off just yet. So, and then, of course, 3 tornadoes over there in Canton.
Yes.
So, folks, be careful out there, and we got to. Now's actually a really good time to be thinking about your insurance, and we're going to get into more of this later in the show, but now's a great time to be thinking about it before the main storms really hit, and you need to get with Richard over at Goosehead and, get your policies tucked away.
Absolutely. But we were watching all the storms yesterday because we've got family over in Canton, but everyone that went through that, I mean, y'all were in our hearts and minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, we got a great show, action-packed for you today. By the way, website InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. If you're just now tuning in for the first time, we are here every week live, Sundays, 8 to 9 in the morning. We do a little sports, entertainment, politics. We talk some real estate. We talk some headlines, latest current events. And generally, we often have some nice special guests calling in as well. Check out the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, for all of that, including all the stories that we cover throughout the week and on the show. There's right there, the Pinterest page, etc. And what do we got going today? We're going to talk a few things. One of the topics we're going to discuss in mortgage is actually going to be student loans. So that's a big issue out there with student loans. People, keep deferring them, and they never get rid of them, never get them paid off, and we're having a hard time getting some of those people into homes. And of course, you bought into the whole student loan thing, pay to play, and hopefully for those of you that have jobs, we've got a great program for you. For those of you who don't have jobs, not so much. But for those of you that do have a job, at least some job, and do have a student loan issue, we've got a great new program for you. We're going to talk about that with our good friend Sam Trantham over at turbomortgages.com a little bit later in the show. What else is going on? Real estate, hey, I talked a little bit about this last week because I had an issue with it the week before, and I've had another issue kind of come up this week. Agents who are kind of guided by their clients as far as, the client wants to add verbiage into whether it be special provisions in the contract. This past week, what came up in this situation was adding it into the amendment. There's a nice open box in the amendment that says other modifications. And, some agents like to play attorney and put stuff in there, or their client would like them to. FYI, you can't put anything in there that limits the rights of either party, the buyer or the seller. And some agents have said, okay, well, we're going to get, verbiage from the broker or the broker's attorney, or from the title company or from the title company attorneys. All of that is not possible. We cannot do that. Any of that would negate the rights of either party. And the rights are laid out in the contract provided by the Texas Real Estate Commission. The rights are guaranteed for both the buyer and the seller in all paperwork that we use, and we cannot limit those rights. Bottom line. I don't know what's confusing about that. I really don't. But, other agents like to play attorney. Please don't do that out there if you are an agent, because, if your file does get audited or something comes up down the line, which it will, boom, you're going to have an issue. And brokers, why? Don't let your agents do that.
Can you even go forward with a contract that the other agent does that to you?
You really shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't, but unfortunately a lot of agents are just guided sometimes by the other agent. They're like, okay, well, we'll just do it. Or they want to get the deal done, or their client said, they tell their client, look, if you don't sign it, you don't get the deal, which is wrong. That's not true, because I had a listing agent do this to me, and I said, I just flat out gave the facts. Look, we can't do this, and I explained why. I said, I understand your client wants to mitigate their risk. It was an earnest money discussion, But I said their rights are already in the contract. And besides, much of what is protecting the buyer as relates to the earnest money at this point is already expired. So all we can do is reiterate, if you would like to, what's already in the contract. That has to go away. The only way we can do it is if the buyer or seller has an attorney. That attorney provides the verbiage, and the attorney signs the contract, and then, of course, the other side is going to have to have an attorney and review it. And so it's just a non-starter. So the bottom line is, accept the Texas Real Estate Commission contracts for what they are. The rights are already laid out in there for both sides, and, we're just not going to kill them. And so after doing that, then I took care of my client. My client's actually an attorney in this case, so, and obviously as an attorney, he's not going to sign that stuff. So it's just crazy. Folks, you got to think about what you're doing out there as far as hiring a real estate agent. Hire one that is, and you are hiring one, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Treat it as a professional service, because it is one. I know we just think, oh, real estate agent, whatever, but it is a professional service. Go out and get a good one. So there you go. Think about that.
Absolutely, because you're hiring someone to help you with the biggest investment that you're going to make in your life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it based on who's going to give me the cheapest rate or whatever. I want the best.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're looking for a discount cut rate agent to sell your house, and they're just thinking, you're being short-sighted.
Absolutely.
Because you can get into so much trouble.
Just like I don't want the cheapest doctor performing the operation on me.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want the cheapest agent out there taking care of my deal.
Absolutely. You want somebody good to take care of you, whether you're buying or selling. And there's so much strategy right now into placing offers, and really understanding your situation and how you, as a competitor, competing against 20 to 23, 25 other offers. Okay, what makes you different? Why is your offer going to be accepted? Well, we have to strategize about that and figure out how to accentuate your pluses, your positives. It's just like you ladies out there when you go and you buy these shoes and these dresses and all that stuff. You like to accentuate all your positives. Well, we're going to do that with you as a situation, buying a home. Accentuate all your positives, figure out how we can strategize to get you as the winning bidder out of 20 to 25 bidders.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty difficult. So, but anyway, think about who you're using out there as an agent. I'd highly recommend giving me a call, but that's just me. Hey, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to do a lot of headlines. There's a lot going out there in the world today, so we're going to talk about a lot of that. Hey, see you on the other side.
Laura Ingraham.
The only thing these bullies understand is someone is on the offensive, right back at them. I'm sick of the bullies. I'm sick of the anti-free speech movement, the intimidation squads. They're trying to silence everyone.
Laura Ingraham, 11 till 2 on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Hey folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here, and did you know that the self-employed loan is back? That's right. Since the 2008 crash, the self-employed have been down and out and unable to buy homes due to restrictions with loan mortgages. But now the self-employed loan is back with TurboMortgages.com. Our good friends at TurboMortgages.com are taking care of all of you self-employed truckers, plumbers, electricians, all of you guys out there. We've got you covered. Go to TurboMortgages.com.
Turbo Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 208677, principal address 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75207.
888-274-5646. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commissioned sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet walk-in tubs at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
After all the sleep you cost your mom through the years, it's time to give it all back. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift she deserves: great sleep on Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer over time. We guarantee she'll love them. She can try them risk-free for 30 nights. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
KLIF News and Information. Still at 570 AM. And also at 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Go there for all of your real estate, all your business needs, and just to check out the great stories that are out there. We put a lot of time and research during the week, and we put a lot of great stories on the website that you're not going to find in other places. And, of course, you can connect with us to take care of all of your business needs. By the way, if you want to talk to us here during the show, you've got mortgage questions later when Sam comes on the line. If you've got insurance questions or anything at all you want to talk about, if you just want to sound off on something, the number is 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. Time to go to some headlines. There's a lot going on out there. Hey, how about this? I mentioned this the other week. Attorney General Sessions was targeting MS-13. He's put that on his radar, and he's mentioned it before. He mentioned it again in a speech over in New York and said, hey, we are targeting you. The MS-13 motto is to kill, rape, and control, Sessions said. And he said, I've got a message for you, the Gaines. We're targeting you. We are coming after you. And, of course, this was after a couple of really bad crimes by MS-13 members in New York recently. There's over 200 members of MS-13 in Long Island. And there was 4 teenagers brutally murdered up there recently in April, and this was coming on the heels of another really brutal group of rapes and murders up there as well. And so AG Sessions saying, hey, we're coming after you. And by the way, MS-13 is not designated as a terrorist organization. However, Rasmussen reported that 47% of those surveyed said it ought to be. Just a little common sense, I would say it is. However, AG Sessions, have you discussed these topics with the CIA? We have many enterprises at the CIA which are regarding, drug trafficking. So
I was going to say that
I'd recommend AG Sessions check in on that because he might be stepping on somebody's toes. What else is going on there? John Wiley Price, not guilty in corruption trial. This has been ongoing forever. The judge said she was going to throw out convictions anyway, overturning the jury, but they found not guilty on 7 of the charges. There's still some more counts regarding some of the tax allegations that were going there, but he was charged with conspiracy to commit bribery, mail fraud, tax evasion, and a false tax return, et cetera, but not guilty of those so far. There's a few more counts that we don't know about yet, but we will see. If you're following that story, that's the latest, greatest there. Hey, we talked to Henry S. Miller III recently here on the show a few weeks back, and over there at the HSM, they got a new project going on, Von Miller, 22-acre estate master plan community over at Prestonwood Polo in Oak Point. We're going to have about 1 acre to 2.5 acre lots adjacent to the polo fields. These are going on sale shortly, and guess how much these lots are being sold for? Right now, they're starting at $300,000 to $400,000 for the lot. And these are going to be 2.5 acre lots abutting the polo fields. So $300,000 to $400,000 just for the lot. You can bring in your own custom builder. Obviously, very exclusive. Area that they're putting together. Miller is the son of Vance Miller, and obviously grandson to Henry S. Miller Jr. But Henry S. Miller III was here
Yes.
a few weeks ago. Great conversation with him. So this was one of the new projects they're talking about coming up. So there you go. If you're looking to be on a nice 2.5 acre lot over there in Oak Point, hey, we got those coming up for you if you want to be next to the polo fields. And some great equestrian facilities they're going to be putting up over there as well, by the way.
So I can spend $300,000 or $400,000 for the lot and then take a 10 out there and just.
No, I do believe.
This is my campground.
Yeah, we're going to have some mobile home restrictions on that, I do believe. Hey, the United Airlines reached a settlement, undisclosed settlement as of right now, with Dr. Dow, the doctor who was pummeled on a United Airlines flight and removed promptly for buying that seat. How dare you buy that seat? We are removing you forcibly. Take a couple smacks to the head.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, I mean, let's not play it that he's as innocent as he can be either, though. I mean, right? I mean, there's there's 3 sides to every story. I would have loved to have been on that flight to see how it actually unfolded, because all you really see is his version of it.
True. But this is interesting with Southwest Airlines. They have said, you know what? CEO Gary Kelly came out and said, you know what? I've made a decision. We, the company, have made a decision, and going forward, we're not going to overbook. So he said, moving forward, new policy, Southwest Airlines, we are not going to overbook. We are not going to oversell. And this is a huge shock to me. Being very intimately familiar with the airline, the industry, overbooking is a common practice.
Yes.
They have to do it because
It's how they keep their costs down.
Well, yeah, and it's difficult to make money in the airline industry, bottom line. It just is. And so this is very surprising to me that Southwest Airlines out ahead of the pack, and of course they often are out ahead of the pack with different strategies, but that was interesting to me that, they're going to do that. However, with Southwest, there is a lot of standby flights and upgrade to standby and all these types of things. So I think that's going to mitigate maybe there's enough people traveling again, that I think that probably is going to mitigate, and that's probably what they've done. They've evaluated this because they're not going to just go out and do it and lose money. They've already mitigated it, looked at it, and said, okay, look, we've got enough standbys, upgrade standbys, that we'll be fine. We don't have to oversell. And I think they're probably right.
Well, it might be a case of the new Coke also, where they try it for a little while, decide it doesn't work, and then they go back to the old ways.
That is possible. But I think I'm glad we finally hit the third instance, because everything with airlines runs in threes, right? And so we had that issue on United. We had the guy on American, the flight attendant, that whole thing with the stroller. The third one, there was a whole altercation on a Delta jet bridge where a pilot got involved and got actually sort of whacked one of the passengers, and he thought he might be whacked with something, but he was back to work, this Delta pilot, and they said he de-escalated the situation, the fight between the women, and there's actually video that shows it looks like maybe he landed a punch, but pretty interesting situation. But I'm glad we got 3 in now. So we've got 3. We're done with all that airline nonsense, thank goodness. So there's that. Hey, TGI Fridays named a new CEO, Aslam Khan, founder and chairman of Falcon Holdings, LLC, a franchisee holding company. He is going to be the new CEO over at Fridays. By the way, his company, which he's going to remain head of, which is Falcon, they have over 500 restaurants. The largest franchise holder of Church's Chicken, by the way, is his company. They also operate Hardin's, Carl Jr.'s, some Long John Silvers and some Piccadillys, similar to like, furs. So that's new there. And, hey, Sabre names a new exec as well. They had a new CEO that came in recently, Sean Menke, but they are going to bring in Wade Jones. He's going to take over of Sabre Travel. And Sabre is actually still doing pretty good. I thought there for a while they were going to go, sort of downhill for a while, but $3.4 billion in 2016, which is up 14%. So they took a dip there for a while. But Sabre is kind of behind the scenes.
Yes.
And so they're doing well, but they've got a new guy. So that's what's going on there. Hey, what about sports? Do we want to briefly talk about the Cowboys picks? Did you watch any of the picks?
No, I've been listening to it on the radio, but this to me is it's like Valentine's Day. It's just that, hey, look at us, don't forget about us, we need your money or your attention. And so anyway, you're talking about people that have never done anything in the NFL. Think about all the great college players that went on to the NFL and didn't do anything.
Didn't do Bo Diddley.
Manziel. I'm not saying anybody, but you're looking at those people and you're just like, I'll tell you what, after your first year, let me see what you can do, and then I'll talk about you and all that stuff. But, I mean, it's big news, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, we love the NFL. Wish it could go all year round. And so it's just something to, get excited about, right?
Yes.
What was the pick that busted the biggest for you?
Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there when because like I said, I'm just listening to it on the radio, and when I heard the name, I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. I wouldn't have picked him as one of the top 10 in the SEC and Big 12 combined, much less overall out of the entire class. And just like sitting there, okay, hey, you know what you're doing, or at least I hope you know what you're doing if you're running the board for an NFL team, but that one made no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys don't know what they're doing either. The biggest one, I think, for me, at least in recent times, was got to be Tebow, because an amazing quarterback in college, both throwing and moving the ball with his feet. He was kind of had that Elway style, I thought, and I just thought he was going to be great in the NFL. And I don't know if some quarterbacks, they need a year or two, and it used to be that was the strategy. The quarterback didn't just come in and all the pressure's there and rock and roll. It was 1, 2, 3 years on the bench, behind somebody, and learning how to work under center, because so much of college is all shotgun snap. Learning how to work under center and learning the speed, the fast pace that is totally different from college.
And learning how to read also, because you got to remember that in college, there's not a lot of reading.
Yeah.
You've got one option, or at the very most 2 options, and that's it. And so,
yeah, no doubt. So that was probably my biggest surprise most recently. Anyway, there's plenty of them though, and then you got Dak Prescott, who's at the bottom of the barrel, and he comes in and does what he does. So it just goes to show you don't really know. Let's run through a couple of these picks. We got Taco Carlton, defensive end out of Michigan. We got Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback. They went cornerback heavy, of course, in here. Jordan Lewis, cornerback, Michigan. This one was a funny one because I thought, okay, this has got Beasley written all over it. Ryan Switzer out of North Carolina. And I loved what he said, which kind of, to me, goes to the point of the whole combine mess. The school's all-time leading receiver over at NC. He said this. He said, hey, I think they underestimate – he said this earlier in the week before the draft. I think they underestimate my speed a whole hell of a lot more than they should, he said. 4.51 in the 40. He said, I think if you watch the tape, I was never caught from behind in college. You don't lead the country in 70-plus yard all-purpose plays for the 4 years you were in college and be slow. And so – that goes to my point that I've said all along. I hate, the combine. I hate, everybody talking about 40 speeds, the standing jump. I hate all of these things because these do not relate to how you played in the game. To me, you look at the tape, and to me, it's just a slacker way of evaluating a player is the combine. And I think there's too many teams that put so much into that they need to put more into the actual tape and put in a little more scouting here. Watch the tape of these ball players and see how they handle things on the field, especially see how they handle issues.
I agree.
How do they come back from those issues? Whether it was an injury or they just got jacked, and do they come back or do they shut down? Mentally, where, how do they handle hits, whether they're being hit or they're hitting? And just how do they handle the game and the mental aspect of it? Obviously, does their body hold up? Can they take a lick and, keep on ticking? But mentally, how are they doing? So to me, I hate the combine because, you can't evaluate those players that can play in the slot or, the running backs, et cetera. You got to watch the tape. To me, that's just common sense.
Well, I agree. But, I mean, like you said, all too often people just get impressed with somebody's arm strength or speed at the combine, and all the tape goes away just because, oh, no, he's really impressive now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really impressive without any pads and anyone hitting him or doing anything.
Right. So I like that pick. Quite. A couple of these picks I do like, but I'm kind of excited about that because he just has that Beasley factor potentially.
Well, I just like that they went mostly defense. They had a couple of receivers, but everything else was all on the defensive side because I don't think they really had a choice.
Yeah, cornerback heavy, and our secondary has been getting. We picked up a safety, Xavier Woods, Louisiana Tech. So secondary has been a problem for us, and so I'm glad maybe we've got some new players to come in and fill some holes possibly. So we'll see. Hey, folks, that's it on headlines. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's time to talk to all of y'all's kids out there about student loans and how to buy a home with student loans and how to deal with that. We got Sam Trantham on the line with turbomortgages.com. We're going to come back to him right after the break, folks. Hang tight.
The Savage Nation.
This has gone too far. I want the DHS, I want the National Guard to arrest the so-called left-wing fascists. I want them off my streets.
2 till 5 every afternoon on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Far from the shores of home, 2 African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black War correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the black soldier. The novel A Private War, it weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here from Inside Real Estate Radio Show. How would you like to get into a home for only 1% down? Well, it's true. You can get into a home for only 1% down with our partner of the radio show over at turbomortgages.com. Folks, go to turbomortgages.com for all of your mortgage financing needs, including the 1% down program. Trust me, they've got all the financing options you need at turbomortgages.com. Go to their website today, turbomortgages.com.
Turbo Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 208677, principal address 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75206.
If you have a timeshare, this time of year you're probably thinking about those maintenance fees coming due. Hi, I'm Karen Holloway, owner of Lone Star Transfer, located right here in the DFW area. Before you pay your maintenance fees, call us for a free consultation, 972-722-3166. We'll get you out of your timeshare and put a stop to those maintenance fees. Guaranteed. 972-722-3166 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
570 AM, 96.3 HD2. That's where you'll find us. News and Information, KLIF.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
How we doing, folks? Welcome back to the house. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Time to get into some mortgage talk. We got our good friend over at Turbo Mortgages, Sam Trantham, on the line. Sam, how we doing this morning?
Well, we're calling from our headquarters down in Austin, Texas. I wish I could be there and see your smiley faces. But we're calling from our headquarters down here in Austin, so not quite as cool down here as it is up there, I hear.
Yes, we had some wild and crazy north winds down into the 40s from 90 yesterday. What's it doing down there in HQ Austin?
It's a little warmer. It's still short weather down here.
You
we have
scoundrel.
got big breaking news that, as you pointed out in the very first part of the show, or even your last segment, this is going to be a huge news for parents who have recently graduated students who may be still living at home, or those who are renting and they have not been able to buy a home because they're laden down with a lot of student debt. Student debt has been pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And, if you got a college degree, it doesn't hurt when you get ready to buy a home if you got a college degree. But, there's a lot of people out there, 4-year degrees or even, MBAs, where they've got a lot of student debt. The funny thing about it is the average graduate, now, carries about $35,000 to $45,000 in student debt, and that's huge. It's just really hard for a lot of kids who are, they're just getting out in the workforce, Mike, and they've got a good job. They've got all this student debt that's just really bogging down.
Yeah, and and that's the average, but so many students, graduated students have even more. So that's a fraction for some. And and some actually have what equates to the starter house mortgage. If you go back in time and you say, okay, well, we're looking at someone who's 22, 23, back in time, that person had already bought a house, and so, but now that's being delayed, and then they have this debt with them. So as far as the lenders evaluating risk, generally speaking, this was not a risk you were going to take. You weren't going to give somebody a house mortgage that already basically had a mortgage unless the income was already there. And a lot of these, they haven't even showed that they've made payments, on these student loans yet. And so this new program is huge for them.
Yeah, let me explain the program out there for parents who may be listening, or for those who tried to buy a home in the past and they weren't able to qualify. And we're talking about millennial age buyers. That's really who we're talking about. We're talking about people aged anywhere from 25 up to 35, 36 years of age. And so what happened in the past, Mike, and for our listeners out there, the mortgage industry in the past, what they would do when they qualified someone who had student loan payments, what happens when the lender pulls the credit report for the prospective buyer, what was reflected on the credit report is a payment that was a very low payment, and frankly, graduates could defer payments until they were employed, and then once employed, they could qualify on what was called an income-driven repayment plan, which offered very, very low payments, and so those payments were reflected on the credit report. And so when a lender would go pull that credit report, they'd go, "Hold your horses. That payment is too low, and we can see that it's too low. It's not going to pay off the loan. It's not going to pay off a fully amortized repayment."
Right.
So what the lender would do, they'd go, "Okay, we're not going to accept that payment that's showing up on your credit report. We're going to apply a 1% of whatever the outstanding balance is." So let me kind of illustrate to you why that's hindered some home buyers in the past. And I'm going to do it this way. Let's say that I've got someone in my office, or they go online, they do a loan application, and I pull the credit report, and, well, first of all, I can see they've got income maybe of $5,000 a month. That's gross income. And they've got $200 in credit card payments. They've got a car loan for $300, and then what happens here is on their credit report, their student loans say that their payments are only $150. Well, that looks great, and we can qualify the buyer with that kind of debt load. But in the past, the lenders would say, because these are Fannie Mae loans,
Right.
Fannie Mae would say, no, we're not going to accept a $150 payment on the student loans, and we're going to apply 1%. And if the balance was $50,000 that they owed, the lender would say, nope, I'm not going to accept the 150. It should be 500. And guess what? That additional $350 a month payment arbitrarily applied to their to their income and to their debt level, that would kick the buyer out of qualifying. So what's happened now, Fannie Mae has come up with a common sense rule, and this new rule is called Student Loan Solutions. And it's a major shift. This is the biggest shift by Fannie Mae in the last decade plus. They've eased up the standards. So whatever payment is showing on the credit report now, that's the payment that they're going to use. So in the illustration I pointed out earlier, if Fannie Mae had put a 1% down on the balance, it's a qualifying ratio, that buyer would not have qualified at all. But now, whatever the payment is on the credit report, that's what we're going to use. What that does, Mike, is bring in, literally tens and tens of thousands of new buyers, hundreds of thousands of new buyers into the market.
Yeah. Yeah, nationwide, no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, it does a couple of great things. You've got buyers out there who maybe would not have qualified at all based on their current income. Maybe they haven't moved ahead as far as they thought they would this early. So it gets them qualified. And then, two, it does something else for other buyers who may have qualified but for not as much. With the market going up as much as it has, the starter homes are not in the same price range as they used to be. It's very difficult to find anything under $200,000, $250,000, anywhere in the state of Texas. I know down in Austin, sometimes it's hard to find anything under $300,000, $325,000. It allows that buyer to qualify for more because now your debt-to-income ratio is better structured based on this new program as it relates to your student loans. It allows you to qualify for more if you could qualify before, but you maybe weren't able to afford exactly what you wanted or because the market's gone so far ahead. So it gives you an opportunity to get more of what you want in the marketplace as well. So it does those two things for sure.
And you know what? With this new program, Mike, we can also possibly disregard the student loan payment altogether. Let me explain that. And I've seen this many times in the past. Payment shows up on the applicant's credit report. And it may be, the low payment or may be the high payment where they're paying it off like they're supposed to. They're going to pay it off over the term of the loan. But again, that amount of payment kicks them out of qualifying. Now, the new program is, just because the payment shows up on the applicant's credit report doesn't mean, they're paying it. Sometimes the parent, listen parents out there, if this is you, if you've been paying your daughter or your son's student payments while they were, as soon as they got out of college and when they were unemployed, and you started making those payments on their behalf, and you're still making those payments, here's what we can do. We'll disregard the payment altogether. That allows your son or your daughter to qualify for a home much easier if you've been making the payments. And all we have to do is see, documentation. You've been making the payments for the last 12 months, and we'll just completely disregard that payment altogether. That's huge, Mike.
Yeah, it is. There's no doubt about it.
We weren't able to do that in the past. So here's what we have. We have brand new Fannie Mae rules. We have the millennial home buyer market, which is a huge market, and now we have a new way for if you've been turned down in the past. And the reason you've been turned down in the past is because your student loan debts were pretty heavy. Then what we're urging students to do, what we're urging new home buyers to do, first-time home buyers who've been turned down in the past, go back to your lender, go to turbomortgages.com and do an online application with us and let us get you pre-approved. And I'm talking about pre-approved, not pre-qualified. And that's where we're a little different at Turbo Mortgages. We get you completely approved so that when you move forward to get ready to buy that you can pull the trigger when you get a property and you write a contract with Mike to get it under contract. So go to turbomortgages.com, and we've got a 1-2 punch there, Mike. You know that. We have the 1% down payment program.
Yep.
That with these new underwriting students that address student loan debt, folks, there's never been a better time to buy a new home. And what we see out there with a lot of first-time home buyers, they think that they have to have 20% down. You know, they're working under this assumption that they have to have a huge down payment. With 1% down that we feature at Turbo Mortgages, we're going to give you 2%. We're going to gift you 2%. So all you have to do is come to the table with 1% down payment. That's huge in the face of this new Fannie Mae announcement. We can't wait for this thing. Well, it's effective now, immediately. You don't have to wait.
Yeah, and so it's effectively, you know, I mean, look, most of these guys and gals out there are renting, so it's basically like a security deposit, 1 month's rent. You know, if you've got that in the bank, you know, that 1%, you know, especially with these new guidelines, you're going to be able to qualify if you couldn't before. If you could qualify, but not for as much because of your student loans, now you can qualify for even more to get that house that you want. A lot of great options for you guys out there. Hey, all you parents out there, make sure you talk to your kids, students out there, and hey, for those of you millennials out there listening who can't get into a home yet because of your student loans, hey, we are taking care of you for sure now. Give us a call. Go to turbomortgages.com. Fill out the app. You can go to it on your smart device, phone, tablet, or the old-fashioned PC. Beautiful website, very intuitive, turbomortgages.com. And by the way, we cover loans all over the state of Texas. We can cover your Texas cash-out needs, your refinance needs, all your mortgage needs. Give Sam a shout. Go to turbomortgages.com. Sam will take care of you. Sam, thank you so much. That's great information. I love it. Student loan solutions. Love it. Great info. And, sir, we will talk to you next week.
Hey, see you later, Mike. See you later, Rich.
Thanks, Sam.
Have a great week.
Folks, we're going to take a short break. See you on the other side.
Glenn Beck. People in the press are saying, looks like Donald Trump might start another war. No, this isn't another war. This is not Iraq. This is not Afghanistan. This is something that would be of the size of World War II.
Glenn Beck, 8 till 11 on News and Information, 570 AM, KLIF.
It's the Amstel X Lite Experience, happening Friday, May 5th from 11 till 8 at Shenanigans in Rockwall. Come on out and meet ESPN personality and former NFL player Tim Hasselbeck, Mavs great Yogi Ferrell, and Cowboys safety Jeff Heath. Play games, bowl, or race go-karts, talk sports, and celebrate Cinco de Mayo. All at Shenanigans in Rockwall, located off I-30. Brought to you by Amstel X Lite, Simple Sleep Services, and Car Toys. We'll see you for the Amstel X Lite Experience, Friday, May 5th from 11 till 8 at Shenanigans in Rockwall.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Perma-Pure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Perma-Pure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Perma-Pure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate, and if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor.
Two great signals. One great way to keep up with what's happening in your world. KLIF News and Information, 570 AM and 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Howdy-ho, friends and neighbors. We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We're going to do a little bit of insurance talk. We got our good friend Richard Tonihka over at Goosehead Insurance. His website, richardtagency.com. richardtagency.com. And how we doing, Richard?
We're doing well. How are you doing today?
I am excellent.
Even though we've been talking for about an hour at least.
I know, right?
What I wanted to talk about, didn't know that the storms and everything were going to come up yesterday, but I was looking forward, and as Mother's Day is approaching, I don't know about y'all, but I know my kids love picking out jewelry for my wife. They don't love paying for it yet, mostly because they're 9 and 2, but they love picking it out. So anyway, so the Mother's Day gifts, and if you're getting something expensive for your mother or your significant other, then what you need to kind of look at is what is the price of that? Not just from the fact that you're buying it, but also how it relates to your insurance. Because one of the things that I want to talk about, or the subject of today, is going to be scheduling personal property and the benefits and when you should do it, and an example of what would be covered, what wouldn't be covered, and all that good stuff. So when should you, every home policy has a personal property blanket coverage for your house, whether it's 40%, 50%, whatever it is, and all those percentages are based off of your dwelling value. So let's say you have a dwelling value of, or a replacement cost for your home of $200,000. Normally, you're looking at anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 as far as personal property that would be covered. And when you're talking about personal property being covered, you're talking about replacement cost. You can have actual cash value, which if you ever see that on your homeowner's insurance, it's a very bad thing. It means depreciation is being taken into account. And so I would advise you to get out of that policy and into a policy that gives you replacement cost. So everything that I'm going to be talking about is just a generic H03 replacement cost policy that a normal homeowner would have.
Right.
And so in the state of Texas, normally for jewelry, you're going to have $1,500 limit on your jewelry, $2,500 for your gun. So in Texas, we value the gun more than we value the jewelry.
We're smart. I'd value those guns more than the jewelry as well.
And so when you're looking at this, you're going to have that blanket coverage, and it's going to be the same coverage that you have on your house is the same coverage that you're going to have on your individual, your jewelry, your firearms, your fine arts, your furs, and all that stuff. All that stuff has the exact same limitations that your home insurance has as far as the peril. So fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, all that stuff, all that is going to be the exact same. The three benefits of having the scheduling your personal property and is you get it at replacement cost value. So let's say you buy an engagement ring. I'm not saying you're going to. I'm not saying you haven't. So if you're listening, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm not saying he has. Let's say you buy an engagement ring. That goes well above the $1,500 that a normal policy is going to have for your jewelry sublimit. Let's say it's $5,000. That's a nice chunk of change, and so you give it to your fiance. She goes out, loses it. Are you covered for that? No,
not unless you scheduled it.
Exactly. So if you do not schedule anything, you do not get it if it's lost. It has to be one of those things that is listed on your homeowner's policy. Your homeowner's policy does not have loss. I lost my house. It's not one of those coverages that you can add to your home policy. So right. you have to have one of those covered risks. Yeah. Also, along with having it covering you for loss, the first thing that you're going to do, you're going to have it appraised. Every 3 years, especially if it's jewelry, you're going to have it appraised. There's going to be an agreed upon amount that is going to be given to that item. So the appraisal is going to have a picture of it. It's going to give all the very specific items for that particular piece of property. Let's say that same or that same ring, that $5,000 engagement ring, you gave it to her, she lost it, or let's say even better yet, she's in the kitchen, she's cooking. I'm not saying that because she's a woman she has to cook. I'm just saying she's cooking, and she's a bad cook, so she starts a grease fire, and the ring goes up with it.
Right.
Don't have it anymore because of the fire. That's covered, so you're okay there. Unfortunately, all you're going to get is $1,500 because of the simple fact that that's the sub limit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fraction of the cost of what you paid, bottom line. Guys, you've got to think about this out there because you're the one buying the engagement ring, the wedding ring, okay? So, and those are taken off. They're taken off, when the wife, maybe, yes, does dishes or when she takes a shower or when she's, putting contacts in or she's doing makeup, and half the time, honestly, and you got to do it early too because guess what? You need to do it as soon as you get it because – guess how many times that ring is lost on the honeymoon?
And it's only, even if you, on your sub policy, you're going to have so much time to get it done. But back to my, so the grease fire, she loses the ring. You've got a $200,000 house, so a 1% deductible, $2,000. So you've got a $1,500 loss in your hand, but you have a $2,000 deductible. They're not going to pay anything. So you just lost out you just lost out on $5,000 because you did not schedule this.
Right.
With a scheduled personal property, you can get it with no deductible. Does it cost a little bit more? Absolutely. Does it cost more to schedule something? Absolutely. It's not going to be covered under a base homeowner's policy. You are going to have to pay a little bit more, but it's the protection that you're getting with no deductible, and it increases the amount of risk that you're covered for. And so when you're looking at this, how much are you spending for it? Because like you were saying, you have to, if you're really doing your due diligence and you're making sure that everything's taken care of, you have to look at, I spent this much. Is it going to be worth the $150 that it's going to cost to cover this? If I don't know about anyone else's wife. I know my wife will take off her rings outside of the home to wash her hands or do what, and to do whatever. Yeah. And there are all too often times where somebody puts down a ring and just forgets it.
Things happen, and how many rings are at the bottom of the Caribbean, from snorkeling on honeymoons or vacations or Hawaii. They're at the bottom of the ocean, and the ones that didn't get scheduled, SOL.
Yes, and then you're also looking at those sublimits. Let's say you went out and you got that $30,000 ring or a $10,000 ring, and something happens. Again, you're looking at the deductible. You're looking at basically coming out of pocket for the entire thing, because although that you will have coverage, and I'm throwing up air quotes, you do have coverage for it. Let's say you lose or you had that same fire and now you've got 10, 15 items because the fire just grew so big that it ended up taking out a nearby bathroom that had a bunch of jewelry in it. Again, you're still going to have that same sub limit of $1,500 for each individual item. Then you're going to have your deductible. So you may have a lot of damage or a lot of loss, but a lot of those pieces of jewelry aren't going to be taken care of at replacement cost, and or they aren't going to be paid at all. There are going to be some of the items that aren't done at all. And when you're looking at what should I cover, what should I not cover, look at your sublimits. Every one of us, what your coverage is, look on your declarations page. Your declarations page will tell you exactly what coverages you have and what the sublimits are. And we're just talking very generic terms, because I don't know what you have or what you don't have. And then take it, what I suggest everybody do is go through your house, take pictures. What are the expensive things? What should you, if you go through your house and you start looking at the artwork, the clothing, your jewelry, what is going to be above that sublimit? And then that's when you start looking at, this is what I need to start scheduling. If you've got a lot of camera equipment, because I don't know about you, but I do. I thought it was going to be easy to become a photographer. I figured if we just clicked enough that we'd find a good picture here and there, and I figured that's all there was to it, but I was wrong. But we've got a lot of camera equipment, and so scheduling that stuff, because that stuff starts adding up quickly.
Right.
And so just look at your personal property. Just go through your house, look at the things that you own, what's above the sublimits, because that's really where you're at risk. And most people don't tell you this, but it's something that you need to know. That way, if something does happen, you're at least prepared for it, and you know what the ramifications are for not scheduling as versus scheduling.
Exactly. Anything of value you want to get scheduled, whether it's artwork, whether it's some sort of collectible, some sort of souvenir, jewelry, especially guns, etc. Anything of value, folks, you want to get it scheduled. And folks, look, insurance agents out there, a lot of them are just hit and run. They hit you with that lowest quote, they get you sold, and then off they go, and you never talk to them ever again. Richard is not like that. He can shop 20 to 25 companies behind the scenes to get the best policies for you. He can bundle auto with one company, home with another company, and give you all the bundle discounts, matching you with the companies that you need to take care of your needs. And, of course, he's going to talk about all these other things, like scheduling, the important things.
Absolutely.
Scheduling the important things in your life, as well as everything else. His website, richardtagency.com. Go to his website, richardtagency.com. Check it out. His phone number is right there. Give him a call. He will take care of everything for you. And, folks, just take care of us. If you need services that we're providing, go to the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with all of us. And, even if it's something you're thinking about doing 6 months down the line or a year down the line, give us a call. We'll be happy to do a little free consult over the phone, and we will get you taken care of that way. Remember, we are here every week, 8 to 9 a.m. live. And, one of the stories that I didn't get to, somebody had mentioned this actually in an email. And, last week they said that you didn't, how come you didn't talk about the the Bill O'Reilly story?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of surprising. I was like, we get emails, but generally it's business related, it's not necessarily like that. And, I haven't talked about that, and it's because I've kind of been waiting on more information. I've seen the story just like everybody else has. But I'll tell you this, out of the research that I've done so far, folks, Bill O'Reilly is phase 2 of a program. Roger Ailes was last year. This year is Bill O'Reilly. And phase 3 is, Hannity, and they're retooling Fox News. Essentially,
yes.
The Murdoch sons who really wish to destroy the legacy of Pops, and totally convert Fox News. At the end of the day, whether we don't know what Bill has done, we don't know the extent of what Rogers did, but these were excuses. Roger was out last week. Bill's out this year. And next year it's going to be Hannity. Something, unfortunately, will be found for Hannity. He'll be, moved on, unfortunately.